Karl, what's your favourite superhero alter ego?
Honestly, I do think it's Clark Kent. But that's mostly based on the performance of whatever actor's playing him. So, depending on which actor's playing him, my opinion on whether or not I like Clark Kent changes. But I just love the idea of just this bumbling idiot from Kansas. Like, he's just a good-natured farm boy trying to do his best.
I always love how every scene they introduce the Clark Kent version of the character, he always drops something and bumps into someone.
He's such a clumsy idiot, and I love that. He's basically just like a child, isn't he? Like, trying to carry. I don't care how like modern the movies get. I still want Superman to be introduced like carrying a big bunch of files, because that's Clark Kent to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. Okay, kid, you're hired. Now, try to keep up. Oh, okay. Do you want the? Should I? Yeah, that's.
Just a man holding way too many files and dropping them everything, like just falling over himself.
It's like every alter ego has a thing. Peter Parker always carries his camera. Clark Kent always carries the box of files to drop.
Like he's just keeps like, no, I can't. I'm holding too many books. One of the hardest things to believe about Superman, other than the fact that he's an invincible god being from the outer realms of space, is that he somehow fools the entire world into not knowing he's Superman by putting on a pair of glasses. So Brad, I don't think we need to tell anyone who Superman is, so let's just get right into it. And like, it's got to be the most maligned like alter ego disguise in any piece of fiction, right?
Oh yeah.
The glasses and the suit, and it's like, how does nobody know that he's Superman?
I think especially because a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today isn't done in the films, all the TV shows.
It is just some of them.
But yeah,
Christopher Reeve ones do it, which we're now going to talk about.
But with who's the guy who plays him in the most recent series?
Brandon Routh?
No, the
new one, guy. Yeah, I know who you
the
mean.
One who plays him in Clark and Lois. But yeah, I think, and also when Cavill played him, like they did just put on a set of glasses.
They did, yeah.
Never met a Clark before.
Oh, I've never met a Lois before.
It's why I think the definitive Superman portrayal is Christopher Reeve, and I think that's a pretty widely held opinion. Like, to a lot of people, he is Superman. He defined what Superman is, like on the big screen, and to the point where like, even Henry Cavill, when he was auditioning to play Superman, they made him try on the outfit.
And you're thinking, I'm going to look really bad in this.
You do not. Look, here, we've got a picture of you in Christopher Reeve's suit. You look great.
It looks like, I mean, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
So people don't know, one of the last things they generally do when casting Superman, after they've gotten like, the actors through the battery of initial auditions, is get them to wear the original Christopher Reeve outfit, because they say if you can put that on and we don't laugh, we know that you're Superman. Because that outfit is pretty corny, isn't it? Like, it's just this spandex suit with bright red underwear on, and if you can wear that and not have people think it looks stupid, you are Superman.
I think to prove a point here, so you can put images on the screen, can't you?
I can, yes.
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, let's put on a picture of Reeves in it, and a picture of Cavill in it. On the right-hand side, a picture of me and you in it, that I will Photoshop just for you.
We'll Photoshop me and you wearing the Superman
And if the ones
outfit.
to the right are funny, and the ones to the left aren't, that proves the point.
Yeah, and that portrayal is untouchable. And one of the reasons I think why is because he plays Clark Kent and Superman as totally different characters.
Oh yeah.
They are wholly independent beings, and that goes into the psychology of Superman. And one of the ways I've heard it put is that Superman is the alter ego, Clark Kent is who he is, like the good-natured farm boy from Kansas, and Batman is the true identity. Bruce Wayne is the the alter ego. In that vein, like Kevin Conroy, rip in peace, the voice of Batman, has gone on record as saying that, I use my regular voice when I'm Batman, and I put on a voice to play Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is the disguise. Batman is the real character.
That's a man who understood the character.
Yes, and there's that amazing bit in Batman of the Future, which I'll never stop bringing up because...
Well, I think the reason why people got so annoyed at this last time is because you got the name of the American one wrong.
Yeah.
You thought that it was different, but the American one is called Batman Beyond, and here it was called Batman of the Future. Yeah. But you got it the wrong way around, and people would not stop commenting.
I think Americans they don't seem to realise that their culture is not homogenous across the world. Like, remember what we had, the video with some hot dogs in it? And Americans can't understand that hot dogs come in jars over here. Yeah, even though the way that we do it makes more sense, because one, the jars are recyclable. Two, the hot dogs are in brine, so they stay fresher. And three, American hot dogs taste like shit. I'm not saying all of them, but their version of mass-produced hot dogs in the plastic wrappers. They don't taste very nice.
Even our American branded hot dogs are in jars, and which I thought they were imported from America, but apparently not.
No, just American style.
Yeah, and also we should clarify as well, because this will come up. We don't mean all Americans.
No.
This happens every time you refer to somebody. I mean, obviously, it's understandable. Like, people don't want to be part of a group that you're making fun of.
It's called speaking broadly. And that reminds me of when I was in America once, actually. I think it's just some guy in a bar was talking to me. He's like, "Oh, you Brits are really rude, aren't you?" Because we swear a lot and call each other like knobhead and stuff. And it's like, no, it's not that we're rude. I think it's just we appear as rude because Americans can't really take banter. And the guy got mad. I was like, what did you fucking say to me? I went, there it is. Americans can't handle banter. Right. Immediately proven when I said it. And that's no better proven than by the fact that there'll be Americans in the comments not taking the banter.
I think, back to Superman, we're talking about...
I was going to mention the Batman thing. Yeah, the Batman Beyond thing. Well, Batman, I forget now. But there's a great moment in that series where a villain tries to make Bruce Wayne go crazy by putting like a sound clip in his head that constantly is like, Bruce, you should kill yourself, throw yourself out of a window, and he thinks he's going mad. And he gets asked at the end of the episode of like, how is it that you knew that you weren't crazy? And he goes, well, one, I know I'm not crazy, and two, I don't call myself Bruce. He calls himself Batman, which means Batman's like, I'm Batman. Even in his head, he's like, I'm Batman.
The voice kept calling me Bruce. In my mind, that's not what I call myself.
What do you call yourself? Oh, yeah. I suppose you would.
I've always had this question of people who are bilingual, is like, oh, what voice do you think in? And in Batman's case, he just thinks in Batman.
He thinks in Batman, yeah. Well, that's an interesting one. If anyone out there is bilingual or trilingual, or they're a polyglot who can speak multiple languages, what language do you think in? Because I know we've got a few friends who are from other countries, and they say it changes over time, and they half, like our friend from Romania, is it?
Yeah.
Where she half thinks in Romanian, but then sometimes forgets, and now it's like a mixture of two voices.
Yeah, I think what she said is that when she's speaking English, she thinks in English, and when she speaks in Romanian, she thinks in Romanian, because it's that part of the, like, it's where your brain is at the time. It's what you're trying to say, what you're focusing on. So
it's very strange. Well, let's bring it back to Superman in his disguise. Like, everyone memes on Superman. He puts on a pair of glasses, and no one knows that he's Superman. So let's break that down, shall we? So the first thing we should mention is that Superman doesn't just put on a pair of glasses. He, according to the comics and several film portrayals, like the most notable one being Christopher Reeve, physically stands differently. And you can see that in the clip that goes around a lot of Christopher Reeves when he's talking to Lois Lane. And he's there, and he's nervous Clark Kent, he's in his suit, he's got his glasses, and he's thinking about talk to her, and he's all hunched over, like physically. Yeah. Much meeker and much less powerful, confident stance. And he thinks, and he takes his glasses off, and he stands up straight, and he physically seems to grow like 3 or 4 inches in height.
Lois, there's something I have to tell you. I'm really... I was, at first, really nervous about tonight.
Yeah, this is the deleted scene in Superman 2, isn't it? Where she confronts him and
he thinks about telling him that he's Superman, and they play the musical scene, and he stands up, and he physically grows about 3 or 4 inches, so it looks like he does, because he stands up straight.
Yeah.
And posture and stuff like that, it plays a huge difference in how you perceive someone. And there's something in my family known as the Smallwood paunch. My dad said he gets about 30 years old, and you get it. And what do you mean? He went, well, son, just one day you'll wake up and this will happen. And he's like, you're always showing, and that's why you've got to exercise, you've got to run. So once I think just physically something like that, I might, 2-3 inches shorter. I physically look less imposing, but then I stand up straight, roll my shoulders back, which everyone should do. Because I'll never forget that legendary shit post of straighten your back, you banana-shaped fuck. So now every time I'm sat down for editing or writing, every half an hour I'll think, straighten up, you banana-shaped fuck, and stand up straight. And make sure I'm doing okay. So it's not just he's putting on the glasses. In a lot of cases, Superman, when he's Clark Kent, is physically 3 to 4 inches shorter. He also hides his normally Herculean rippling physique under baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a lot, but Superman's chest is wider than a car door.
People make TikToks and adverts and things online that literally do this, where they want to show the quick, I used to be unfit and now I'm not, but they can't just get unfit and get fit. So what they do is they don't work out for a day or two, they drink loads of water or whatever to make them bloated, and they slump and they have the gut and they don't have the six pack. And they take another picture with better lighting when they dehydrate themselves. And
They also have, there was that TikTok trend for a while where it's girls before a night out.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Them, it's just them, like, you know, in sweats and casual wear, and then they just drop the thing, like, they're... And the transformation, like, they literally look like different people. And when he's wearing those clothes, he's hiding away one of the most distinct, iconic things about Superman. You know, that physique. Because let's be honest, how many people are really looking at Superman's face when he's flying around saving people? It's like, just folks at home, go out wearing your underwear on the outside of your clothes and see how many people notice what your hair looks like that day. And speaking of hair, something else that Superman does, he parts his hair differently.
Yeah.
So when Superman is Superman, in a lot of Superman media, his hair is swept back so you can see his entire face.
I did this test once I think it was in uni. Because when I had longer hair, I always used to have it parted. The parting was on the right and the hair was swept to the left. Mm-hmm. I swapped it around. And I went to uni, I think it was Nisha, as soon as I walked into the class, when, why have you parted your hair the other way? Mm-hmm. Like, instantly recognisable that I'd done it.
Yep.
But, like, clearly it looks different enough that people...
they would notice it, yeah. And with Superman specifically, his hair is either swept out of his eyes or it's parted to the right. And there's a neat little bit of psychology people maybe aren't aware of here. And hair parted to the right is perceived differently than hair parted to the left. And the general psychology is that hair parted to the right makes someone appear stronger and more confident.
Why?
Because in your mind, you associate it with right-handedness.
Yeah, but I don't think right-handed people are stronger.
You're not, but this is psychology, Brad.
Okay,
It's irrational. But whereas like hair swept to the left is generally seen as weaker, more passive, more submissive, meeker. And it's something you can see in the visual language of a lot of media. Usually has villains with their hair swept to the left. And this is one of those things that once it's pointed out, you can never unsee it.
So swept to the left is using your left hand to go from right to left?
No, just like, to the left, yeah.
So yours currently...
You swept to the right.
Is swept to the right?
Yeah, so if I swept my hair to the left, little Lord Fauntleroy going on. But yeah, it's just one of those little bits of psychology.
I thought that was good.
Like,
you got the sweep, you got a little flick.
I'm meeker, more passive. But that's just one of those little bits of psychology, and a lot of Superman media does that as well, where Clark Kent parts his hair to the left, or in some cases uses his hair to visually just disguise his face. It softens his features, whereas that chiseled Superman jaw
with the curl.
Yeah, that iconic Superman curl that's not there when Clark Kent is Clark Kent. It's normally shaggier, covering his face, hiding away his features, and then the glasses. We've got to mention the glasses.
Look at me.
Oh my God. This is insane. But it makes total sense. You always showed up around the same time. It was like you were just there. And you were good. Too good. Oh my God, this is so unethical. You wrote stories about yourself.
And fun fact, in the comics, the glasses are made of special Kryptonian glass that change the colour of Superman's eyes.
Kryptonian glass?
Of course they are.
Where did he get the Kryptonian glass from?
From his ship. That's how they explain a lot of Superman stuff, where did he get his outfit from? His mum made it with the black...
to be honest, his entire fortress is made of crystals, so it's not like he couldn't get some clear glass.
Yes. So the glasses change the colour of his eyes. And that's not even mentioning the fact that glasses dramatically alter someone's appearance. If there's anyone out there who knows someone wears glasses or wears glasses themselves, probably know that when they start to wear contact lenses or don't wear glasses, people notice. Likewise, if you suddenly start wearing glasses, people notice that, especially the kind of glasses Superman wears, the thick horn-rimmed ones.
Yeah.
Which, they draw your attention to his eyes, his chiseled ass jaw.
Yeah, Superman's eyes are blue as fuck.
They are.
That's and if you saw someone who looked a bit like Superman, but their eyes were not blue as fuck, you probably would be like, well, that is noticeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his eyes are they're very noticeably blue. That's one of the key things about Superman. His eyes are unnaturally blue to the point where people notice them. And they even have, in some of the films where Lois Lane looks into Clark Kent's eyes, he's like, I never noticed how blue your eyes are before, because they're always hidden behind the glasses and no one really pays attention to him.
Mm-hmm. Do you eat?
And then there's other more subtle aspects, such as physical performance, which you can't really talk about in the comics, but a lot of actors place Clark Kent, like you said, a completely different character.
Yeah, like I said, the first time he's introduced, he usually drops something, and he's always bumping into people, and he always he sort of shies into corners and stuff as well. He's very much a shy, like introverted performance. Like,
Yeah,
people don't pay attention to him because
he sinks into the background in a lot of the scenes that he's in.
Excuse me.
Here, you got my article.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. White. I was wondering if...
And for anyone out there who's still thinking that his disguise is silly, let's just pretend that Superman's disguise literally was him putting on a pair of glasses and saying, I'm Clark Kent. That would still be an amazing disguise. And that's because something I never see people talk about when they say Superman's disguise is terrible, is that nobody knows Superman has a disguise. Nobody knows that Superman has an alter ego. Which is pretty obvious when you think about it, like, because Superman doesn't wear a mask, which would suggest that he doesn't have an alter ego because you can just see him. No one in the universe in which Superman lives thinks that he has an alter ego. They just think he flies around all the time solving crimes. Like, they don't think he has anything to hide because he's bulletproof and an alien.
What's your background? Where do you hail from?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, actually. See, I'm from, well, pretty far away.
It's not a character like Batman or Iron Man or Spider-Man who are clearly people in costumes with masks on.
Mm-hmm.
Superman doesn't wear a mask, and he's always all over the world saving people all the time.
Yeah.
You wouldn't assume that he did something in his day-to-day life. Like, I don't think... well, I mean, how often does he tell people that he has?
He virtually never does that. No, they just see... And that's the thing, most people, they don't even see it half the time. Like, they just, like, a blur that saves them from, like, you know, a falling object from the sky. And the people who do get up close and personal with him never really see Clark Kent. They always say, oh, Clark Kent works for a newspaper. Like, one of the key plot points in a lot of Superman media is that they can never get a clear shot of Superman. That's, like, usually one of the number one things, like, we can't get a clear shot of this dude.
Get the picture?
You know, I didn't start to put this together until this morning.
Which is really strange, because a good reporter isn't supposed to let anything slip by her.
So that's always the joke, isn't it? Oh, they work in a newspaper, but there's a guy who looks like Superman. It's like, they don't know what Superman looks like. And they also, even if they did, don't think he has an alter ego. And this actually comes up in one comic, where Lex Luthor just says, fuck it, I'm going to find out what Superman's up to. Like, who is it?
Yeah.
And he builds a machine that scans his face and compares to, like, every other face in the world. And it tells him that Superman is Clark Kent. And Lex Luthor's like, well, that's obviously not true. And do you want to guess the reason why?
I'm assuming what we just discussed, like, why the fuck would Clark Kent be...
Yeah. Like, he physically cannot fathom why a being as powerful as Superman would spend 8 hours a day cosplaying as a bumbling idiot. Like, he cannot fathom why someone with that much power would willingly choose to work in such a meek, passive role. Like, he can't believe it. So obviously this can't be true. Keep in mind, like, Lex Luthor's one of the smartest beings in the entire DC universe. If you can fool him, he can fool anyone. And that's like a thing that you never see people talk about. Is it like, yeah, he's got a disguise, but no one thinks Superman has an alter ego. Like, he's bulletproof. Why would he need one? And I love that fan theory. A lot of people have that. Criminals do actually know that he has an alter ego, but they never out him for it because the 8 hours a day he spends at work is 8 hours a day they can commit crime. And I think it's like a Text from Superheroes bit where, like, a criminal's like, hey guys, I figured out that Superman's Clark Kent. Like, yeah, we all know, don't say anything. He can hear you, he's got super hearing. It's like, but we could do something with this, right? He's like what? So, well, I don't know, we could, you know, sneak up on him and get him when he's, like, you know, not expecting. It's like, do you think he's less bulletproof when he's at work? It's like, yeah, they've got a good point on that.
It's like, if he's going to maintain the charade of having a day job, and he, like, yeah, we may as well just do all the crimes while he's at work.
Yeah, at least we know there's 8 hours a day where he's probably... The thing is, he could probably still get us.
That means that the criminals have to work on, like, a day shift.
Oh, that's the thing, he still gets them at work. So, like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom. That's another thing, like, Clark Kent always pretends to be ill, doesn't he? He's always like, oh, he's got a nervous disposition, like when crime's happening. He's like, oh, no, I've got to get out of here, I'm really scared.
I always remember, because I didn't watch a huge amount of... it was The Adventures of Lois and Clark. I always remember one very specific episode, and it was one where the truth was coming out. Somebody was investigating that Clark Kent was Superman, but it also happened to the exact episode when a Superman from another dimension turned up in that dimension. And there's a bit at the end where the Superman's giving, like, a press conference, and there's somebody there, no, we know that you're Clark Kent, we know you're Clark, you look just like him. And then Clark Kent walks in behind, like, what's going on here? And everyone's like, what?
It's great.
Yeah.
There is an amazing supercut out there of all the excuses he uses in that series for not like helping out. And one of them literally is, like, Lois Lane's like, look, Clark, what is our relationship? And he hears, that thing about he listens and he hears like someone screaming for help, and he goes, look, Lois, I'd love to talk about this, but I've just remembered I've got to go return some videotapes. And just walks off.
Because I've been having some feelings lately. I think it would be good.
Look, I'm starved. Why don't I grab some takeout and we can talk on a full stomach, okay? I'll be right back. I'm not always running off.
All right, get your hands in the air. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt.
I'll call the cops.
With us, that whatever the truth is, I need to hear it.
Lois, I'm really sorry.
Clark,
I'm really sorry.
don't you do it!
Lois, please, hold that thought, okay?
Hold that thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just that I have to... return this video. It's really important. I'll be right back.
It's me, right?
My Blockbuster subscription. If I don't get it back soon, they're gonna fine me, and I won't be able to rent the film when it comes out next week.
That's a really good point as well, because like one of my absolute favourite Superman moments in anything is that bit in one of the Christopher Reeve movies where Superman's like on the balcony and Lois Lane's like, oh, he's like, I have to go now, someone needs my help, and then 2 seconds later Clark Kent's at the door.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you ever think he was Superman like that? Just you saw him fly away, 2 seconds later Clark Kent's at your front door.
What I would do is I would get Martian Manhunter to just turn into Superman.
They do that sometimes.
Yeah,
that's always the thing.
And then have them appear in the same photograph or something together, and then anybody with any suspicion would just be able to look at that picture and go, "Well, they're both there."
I've met him. Yeah. I think they even have a moment in one comic where Superman comments on it. They're like, "Oh yeah, that Clark Kent guy. He's pretty handsome, right?" Or something like that.
Imagine if you just took it too far and ruined it. Oh, that Clark Kent, I hear he's super handsome. He's hiding a really buff physique, actually. He's got a really massive dick.
The undercover Kylo Ren, he's got an 8-pack.
A buddy of mine saw Kylo Ren take his shirt off in the shower, and he said that Kylo Ren had an 8-pack. But Kylo Ren was shredded.
Thing is, though, I love that episode of like Batman, the animated series, where Batman's like, he goes on holiday or something, and Superman takes over for Batman. And they just have a bit where like Bane happens to be committing some crime that day, and like Superman Batman walks in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be bulletproof for a bit." And I just like the idea that every now and again he does that for Batman, because so just to improve his mystique. Like, did you hear Batman's bulletproof and can fly now?
I don't think it would work the other way around though.
Batman pretending to be Superman.
I mean, first of all, he looks nothing like him. But just like Batman with no powers in Superman's suit, which doesn't provide any powers.
I also like the... one of the things that I love about a lot of the media with Batman and Superman is their friendship, which is something that's not really in the live-action movies a lot, is it?
What are you talking about? In the Snyder Cut?
Well, they have like a... I love their like their friendly rivalry. That was a bit in one of the animated movies where like they're breaking into somewhere and like Superman flies down and Batman uses his grappling hook. Superman's like, you know, I can just fly, right? I can carry you. And Batman's like, I always hate when you do that. And he's just like, nobody tosses a bat. And just Superman's like, fine, I'll let you. So he knows it's important to Batman to do it on his own, even though he could do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Always have to be the hero, don't you?
Right back at you.
Well, that thing of like, that's why Superman doesn't go to Gotham, even though he could solve all the problems in 5 minutes. It's like, because Batman's like really like proud of the fact he protects his city.
Do you know if Lex Luthor loves Batman?
I'm not sure. I know he hates Bruce Wayne.
Because Lex Luthor's whole thing is that Superman shouldn't have the power of a god.
Yeah.
But Batman's a man. He's a self-made man who does basically he's toe-to-toe with Superman and in fact beats him on several occasions. Mm-hmm. Surely Lex Luthor should idolize Batman as somebody who is essentially the personification of what he thinks.
He probably does,
yeah.
Probably has like at least like, you know, some respect for like, you know, a guy who goes out there dressed like a ninja furry and beats up criminals.
I reckon he's got a Batman plush that he sleeps with.
He might be. It's not, you know, it's unofficial as well. But we have some other great like Batman, Superman moments in the comics. Do you know that Batman is Superman's boss?
Oh, does he own
He owns the Daily Planet, yeah. Like Wayne Corp owns the Daily Planet. So Batman's Superman's boss, and every now and again he reminds him of that, and it's like really funny. So do you have any like favourite like Superman moments then to end on? So I'll start with one of mine, and it's just a little moment, and it's in one of the Injustice games, where they have a lot of pre-fight banter. And one of the fun things about that game is like no matter what character you pair up, they always have like some interesting, unique dialogue between them. One of my favourite bits of like generic Superman dialogue is like, oh, you're an idiot. Like when a character will match with him and goes, you're an idiot, Superman, you don't know what you're doing. He's like, I'm not the one fighting Superman. So he just acknowledges like how stupid an idea it is to try and fight him. And in that game as well, he's super good. Like he's one of the best characters.
You're insane. I'm not the one fighting Superman.
Isn't it injustice that they all take pills to match their strength or
They
something?
all take
it's like a law
They
reason.
get Superman pills to become as strong as Superman, but then
he's still Superman.
But then like Harley Quinn uses a baseball bat. Is that a Superman baseball bat?
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah,
you just swing it, it breaks immediately because she's got super strength and he's got super strength.
Yeah.
That bat's not going anywhere.
They all take Superman pills.
Want to hear a joke?
Oh, gee, this ought to be something.
Harley Quinn versus Superman.
No, I think a good Superman moment I remember is in the Reeves one. I think it's the first film. They do the montage of him saving people.
Yeah.
And there's the scene where he saves the cat in the tree, which is
course.
obviously really...
It's the classic moment, isn't it? Yeah.
But I think there's an extended version, or maybe it's in the original version, where she runs inside to tell her, like, mum or grandma, a man just flew into the tree and got my cat. And the person in the house goes, don't tell lies, and whacks her. I might be misremembering that, but I'm sure that she beats her because she's lying.
I'll try and track that clip down.
Bye.
Bye. Mommy, Frisky was stuck in the tree. This man swooped out of the sky and gave him to me.
Haven't I told you to stop telling lies?
I think we've talked before as well about I love the visual of Superman saving a cat from a tree. 'Cause a lot of films, especially like, you know, more recent ones, always want to showcase Superman doing bombastic, amazing feats, like, you know, dragging an entire ocean liner out of the sea.
Yeah.
Or, you know, saving hundreds of people at once. Like, they're visually impressive, but I think it's also just important to show that he'll do the little things as well, because one of the key things that Superman's supposed to be is, like, you know, an ideal to strive towards. And when you see him doing things it's literally impossible for a human being to do, that message kind of gets muddy. But when you see, like, you know, a being with that much strength, that much power, that much potential, still taking the time to just get a cat out of a tree.
Don't get me wrong, I'm here to help. But every time I have to stop and sweat the small stuff, it potentially keeps me from attending to more urgent matters. Life-threatening matters.
Something you could help someone do. Like, you see him take those, like, after he saves someone, he always takes a second to talk to them. That's why I say, like, as maligned and hilarious as that bit in, like, the Justice League bit where
the
phone bit, as much as that is very funny and very ugly looking, it is a very Superman moment where he stops and talks to some kids.
Here you go, friend.
Thanks. Cool costume.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
It is strange how the cynical business people in The Boys understand that more than Snyder did when he did Superman, because they get Homelander to go and try and save the girl who's trying to kill herself as a publicity stunt on his birthday. And obviously that's mirroring an actual comic scene of Superman saving a suicidal girl.
Hi, Chelsea. It's your lucky day, but considering. You're my annual birthday save.
Don't come any closer.
Life is a precious gift.
It's I think there's two of those, where Superman saves someone from jumping off a building, and they are, like, widely regarded as, like, the epitome of what the character should be. Of, like, it's not that he can fly around and save the day, it's that he takes the time to stop and talk to somebody, which is something anybody can do.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've beat it to death, but it's the reason why Pa Kent's death not being something Superman could stop is so important.
To his character, It's like he dies of a heart attack in almost every version of Superman to exist, to teach Clark that despite all of your power, you can't save everybody, but you can try your best.
Yeah, save as many people as possible. Doesn't matter whether it's a cat in a tree or an alien destroying the planet.
Yeah.
Like, your duty is to save and protect as many people as you can.
All those powers. And I couldn't even save him.
And they have that in the animated film of Batman vs Superman, where it's like Superman saving a cat from a tree, and Batman's like giving him shit for it. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I go where I'm needed."
Yeah.
Like, just because you see this as beneath you, I can help this lady.
Yeah. I'd like to think that Superman's the kind of guy who would be flying past and would just help somebody carry their shopping to the car.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally, I will help in any way.
If I can, yeah. And that's like, they have that bit where Batman's like laughing at him almost, like mocking him. And it's like, yeah, I go where I'm needed.